What's good, YouTube? It's your boy J-Lo here again, back again with another video. Today a little different, you know what I'm saying? We're switching up vehicles. Today we're focused on the Ford Ranger. The Ford Ranger, and this is a common problem with the 4 cylinders. That intake manifold is known to crack, and I want y'all to do something for me. I want you to go to Google and search an air intake for a 2001 Ford Ranger. I'll give you a second. Y'all done? Y'all see that mug is expensive, and it's expensive because, hey, it's hard to come across. It's a common problem with these intakes for them to crack under a load, and when they crack, it causes your idle to be very erratic. It's not consistent, and that's because of all the air that's seeping in through the intake that is cracked. I would start it and run it for y'all, but it does have a really bad misfire, but it's because it's getting more air than it's supposed to, and of course the ratios are uneven between the air and fuel and combustion, so it causes it to misfire. Today we're going to be showing you how to fix this without going to get a new intake. My plan of attack is to get everything disconnected, get the intake manifold off, and they do have smoke machines that you could pretty much run smoke through, and if you fill up enough smoke, it'll show you where the air is seeping through. I'm not 100% sure where mine is, but I have a feeling it's down below here somewhere, because if the car is running and you spray a little bit of brake clean around it, the idle will pick up on it, and it's just letting you know that it's air seeping in. I'm gonna go ahead and get this bad boy disconnected and then get back to y'all. So I have disassembled this before. These 2 bolts up top have to come off. This comes off, you're able to pull the intake off at that point. You have to disconnect the vacuum line. There's a vacuum line at the back that goes to your AC and what else, but there's a plug on the back that needs to come out, and then this vacuum hose that's connected to the brake booster also has to come off. There's one more sensor down here at the bottom related to vacuum that also has to come off, and then the line right here, you can see I just disconnected, runs to the intake manifold as well. So all that has to come off in order for the intake to be able to come off. So I'm about to get to work on that. As you can see, we did get the intake removed. In order to get this out, there's going to be a bracket that's connected to the power steering pumps. 3 bolts, 1, 2, and then there's one on the bottom that you have to pull out in order to get access to it. There's a bunch of things plugged in, so remember what you plugged everything into, just for the reinstallation purpose, to make it as easy as possible. All right, y'all, so since then we've moved into the garage. We got the intake manifold here. I'm going to show you what the problem with these intakes are. This is the side that's right by the power steering pump. If you look, there's a gaping hole right here. I don't know if the camera's picking it up. That wears out over time. This is literally right behind the power steering pump, and as you can see, this intake is filthy, so I'll clean that up. There's a flapper right here, and that's also connected to the shaft of the flapper right here. It's exposed. Over time, the power steering pump will wear down into this and cause this hole to open up enough to seep air through and pull air through, so that is where your leak is occurring at. I have bought a plastic welder from Harbor Freight. This right here is the plastic welder that I bought from Harbor Freight. I think it was maybe less than 30 bucks, or right at 30 bucks. My attempt today, what I'm gonna do is to use the plastic welder to fill the hole without congesting the flapper, which would allow the flapper to still actuate and move, but close up the vacuum leak that's causing the car to idle erratically. So I'm gonna show you how to do that. This is the welder, and then they also sell, like, I guess this would be equivalent to like the flux, but it's plastic welding rods that I'm gonna use to melt down and get into the hole. So the welding kit came with this mesh fencing, so it came with that. I cut a square about the size of the hole out, and then I pressed it up against the hole, laid the iron on it so that the plastic from the manifold itself would grab onto it and hold. And what I'm going to do now is use one of these plastic rods and go over and lay beads over the top, just to put a bunch of plastic down over that, and now it has support to kind of hold itself as far as like structural rigidity. Gonna go over the top, melt this to plug this hole up. As y'all can see, we got it sealed and it's pretty hard. You can knock on it. I got the plastic mesh melted into the plastic of the intake, and then I just filled it with the plastic filler rods on top. I've let it cool, I've let it harden. I've checked from the other side, you can't see daylight through. So like this, we're gonna run it. Pretty confident in how I did it this way. So we're gonna go ahead and reinstall this, fire the truck up, and see if that fixed the issue. So right now we're just about to go inverse of the removal process as the installation process. This is also a good time to one, replace the PCV valve on the intake manifold, and then this is also a good time to replace the thermostat as well. If I'm not mistaken, it's accessible from up here. At least that was on the article that I read. I'm just gonna go ahead and throw the intake back in and then fire the truck up to see if the problem is fixed. And just like that, we got everything back assembled, everything is put back, everything's mounted, all the vacuum lines are back in place, all the electrical connectors that had to be reconnected are back connected. Vacuum lines from the back ports are all connected. We're gonna attempt to fire this bad boy up to see if that fixed our issue, which I think it did. Now that we're back in the vehicle, we're gonna go ahead and hook the OBD2 up and clear the code, and then we're gonna fire this bad boy up to see if our issue consists or persists or continues, whatever the proper wordage is. I'm tripping, man. I be trying to expand my vocabulary and whatnot, and I be tripping up on words. You feel what I'm saying? If the issue persists, I believe is the appropriate terminology for it. So looking at the code reader's still there, idle, tooling, and then it's saying there's cylinder 1 misfire. Let's clear both of those. Clear was successful. Clutch in, take it out of gear, and folks, I think we have fixed our issue. So that did fix our problem, just like that, and we don't have to worry about the erratic idle anymore. So that did fix our problem 100%. The only other thing I really got to tackle on this is that front strut, tie rod, or whatever it is, but when you turn it squeaks. I know it's notorious on these Ford Rangers, but that's the only thing that's really left on this vehicle. I appreciate y'all for rocking with me today, and I love y'all. Puppy said bye too. Can you give him a paw on camera? Give me a paw. Yeah. Yeah.